Okay, welcome back. Now we're looking at rearranging formula, which is also called changing the subject of the formula. That we've got the value of x, but we want the value of a. So what this is asking us to do is to make it a equals. So that is the key here, make that a equals something. To do that, we technically solve it. And if you remember solving, you're balancing the equation. So you're making this side balanced to this side. So the scales stay balanced at all times. So whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. So let's have a look at that. I want a on its own, so I need to get rid of the 3 and get rid of the plus 5. I would suggest you get rid of the plus 5 first. If you choose to divide by 3, you would have to divide the 5 by 3, which makes things a bit awkward. So I would suggest you shake off this 5 first by subtracting it from both sides. So if we subtract 5 from both sides, we end up with x minus 5 is equal to 3a. I want a on its own, don't forget, so I need to get rid of that 3. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3 to cancel that 3 because 3 divided by 3 is 1. And if you look at it now, I'm left with a on its own. So therefore, a is equal to x minus 5 divided by 3. You have rearranged the formula from x equals to a equals. So if you've got the value of x, you plug it in there and you can work out the value of a. Same on this second one, let's find the value of a. I want to get rid of the a as a denominator. I need it as a numerator. To do that, I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by a, because then they would cancel. So now I'm left with a times x, which is just ax, and that is equal to b. So obviously I don't want b, I want a. So I need to get rid of this x from this side. So in this case, to get rid of that x, I divide both sides by x. Remember, we're doing the inverse, so they cancel. Now I've got a on its own, so therefore a is equal to b over x. Last one on this page. Again, we're looking for the value of a. Our aim is to get a on its own. There are two ways of doing this. One way is to get rid of the x first by dividing both sides by x. The other way is to expand those brackets and then solve it from there. I'm going to choose to divide both sides by x. So I'll divide all of that by x and that by x, so they cancel. I've now got y over x is equal to a minus b. Now remember, my aim is to find a. So in this case, I want rid of the minus b. So I add b to both sides of these equations. So they cancel. I've now got a equals. So therefore, a equals y over x add b. Okay, let's look at that question there and let's expand those brackets so you can see it done a different way. So I've moved those up. Let's have a look at that question again. So we have got y equals x bracket a minus b. First thing I'll do is expand those brackets. So now I get y is equal to ax minus bx. I want the a on its own, so I get rid of minus bx first by adding bx to both sides. So now I've got y add bx is equal to ax. I want rid of the x, so I divide both sides by x. So don't forget I'm dividing this side by x and I'm dividing all of this by x. So they cancel and I'm left with a is equal to y plus bx over x. Now they are technically the same. You can neaten this up if you choose to make it look like that, because that is the same as saying y over x plus bx over x. And if you cancelled these x's here, you'd be left with the same answer. Okay, moving on. Last three questions. We're going to make x the subject. So for this first question, I need to get rid of the c first. I can do that by multiplying the numerator by c. That would cancel those c's, and by multiplying the y by c. If I did that, I would get cy is equal to ax minus b. My next step is to add b to both sides. So if I add b to this side, it would cancel. So therefore, I have got cy plus b is equal to ax. And finally, I would divide both sides by a to cancel the a. And therefore, I would be left with x is equal to cy plus b all over a. And that is rearranged. If we look at this one here, again, we want x as a subject. So x is a denominator here, and I don't want it as a denominator, so I need to get it off the bottom. So I multiply this whole numerator by x, so those two cancel. I multiply y by x, because I make sure it balances. So now I have xy is equal to bc minus a. Now I've got the x over here, so I need to get rid of this y because I want x on its own. So I divide this side by y and I divide this side by y. So therefore, those two y's cancel. I'm left with x equals bc minus a divided by y. And that one is also rearranged. The last one, we are looking for x. First thing I would do here is get rid of that denominator by multiplying all of this numerator by 5, so they cancel. and by multiplying y by 5. So now I have 5y is equal to ax minus bx minus 3. My next step will be to add 3 to both sides to cancel that 3. So now I'm going to have 5y add 3 is equal to ax minus bx. At this point here, you'll notice I've got x in both terms. So my way around this to get x as one separate term is to factorize this. So I would have 5y plus 3 is equal to x bracket a minus b. Now I've got x isolated. All I need to do now is get rid of this a minus b. And to do that, I divide both sides by a minus b. Therefore, x is equal to 5y plus 3 over a minus b, and that's done. So that's rearranging a formula. Again, if you found this useful, please like and subscribe. And the final video is on looking at something called dimensional analysis. What that is making sure units are compatible and recognizing whether something is a length, area and volume.